Final salary rankings are in, and that means we finally know which 23 players will represent Japan in the U20 World Cup.
This roster is packed with talented egoists, but only a handful will secure a starting spot.
That's correct, and even fewer players will get the opportunity to come off the bench as a sub.
In this video, we'll create the perfect Japan U20 team, as well as possible second teams and variations.
We decided on using a 3-5-2 formation, composed of 1 goalkeeper, 3 central defenders, 3 midfielders, 2 wingers, and 2 forwards. The main reason we chose this formation is because we wanted both number 1 players, Rin and Isagi, to play at the same time as the team's main strikers.
With that out of the way, our first 2 players will be Itoshi Rin and Isagi Yoichi. Since that's all settled, let's move on with the rest of the team.
Let's start with the most obvious one. Gagamaru is the starting goalkeeper.
Gagago has made at least 1 save in every match in the NEL. He is the only keeper who is constantly pulling out big plays. Some of those saves were against elite players like Baro and Rin.
His clutch factor can't be undervalued. Like you said, he is the only one making multiple game-defying saves, and it's no brainer why we chose him as the starting goalkeeper for the Japan U20 team. And obviously, the only choice for a backup keeper is Gen Fukaku.
But moving on, let's choose our defenders. Since we'll be using a 3-5-2 formation, we'll need 3 capable defenders to form our backline.
Our first choice at center back has to be Aiku. He's Japan's best young defender, and he was excelling as a center back for Italy's Ubers in the NEL.
Aiku was displaying world-class defensive plays, utilizing his amazing physical abilities along with his meta vision. This allowed Aiku to properly utilize his total defense and act as a critical safeguard in the team's defense.
For this team, we would like Aiku to have a libero role similar to Don Lorenzo's role in Ubers. Aiku would be the heartbeat of the U20's defense as well as the first attacker. We think this could work because Aiku possesses great vision and passing. Adding that with his meta vision and his overall offensive capabilities, which evolved during his time in Ubers, he can read the field and find the best places to steal the ball from his opponents, and then he can send a killer pass to create an effective counterattack.
Aiku gaining meta vision gave him an extra edge on offense as well as his defending, creating a world-class modern center back who can be good at defending and with the ball at his feet during the initial build-up. We'll put him right in the middle of the backline as the heartbeat of the defense.
Moving on, let's go to our second center back, and that will be Aryu. Throughout his time with Ubers, Aryu has been playing as a center back, and he was extremely effective at using his height and jumping abilities to win a lot of these important duels in the air.
We would want Aryu to focus on this role and mainly handle the big aerial duels while also pressuring the opposing team striker. Plus, he has already been playing with Aiku at Ubers, so that chemistry is already there as well.
This team will definitely need capable defenders, and one thing about Aryu is that he's a great stopper. He can play a big role in using his physicality to win those duels in the air, so we could definitely use him to fill one of these spots in the center back position. Let's put him on the right side because that's where he was playing during the Blue Lock 11 vs Japan U20 match.
With all that, let's go to our last center back, Nico. We will put Nico as the left center back, where he will mainly focus on winning ground duels and intercepting the ball. Nico's vision and ability to read the entire state of the field makes him a formidable ball winner.
Let's not forget, Nico was also able to learn meta vision, which further improved his watchtower style and made him an even bigger threat. He was able to roam the field and look for the best places to steal the ball from his opponents.
Besides being a great defender, Nico was able to further improve his abilities on offense with meta vision and create these brilliant link-up plays. He could also help Aiku in the initial build-up since he's just so capable with the ball at his feet.
Overall, we think this Uber's defense chemistry will be vital for this team's formation. Each of them have their own skills and strengths to complement each other. Nico can handle the ground duels, Aryu will focus on being a stopper and winning those aerial duels, and then Aiku is just a complete safeguard and he can do everything in the sense of both ground and air as the last defender.
These 3 players will provide a strong defensive core while still having the ability to attack quickly.
Those are our starters for the 3 central defender positions. However, there aren't too many capable defenders in the top 23, so we think there are only a few players who could come in as a sub and coexist with these players as defenders. The first one that we had in mind was Yoichi.
Yes, we know Yoichi has been mainly playing as a defensive midfielder, but his defensive skills could prove to be useful as a center back, especially as a man-marking defender.
We all know Yoichi has shown excellent endurance, tenacity, and high-level man-marking abilities. The most clear example was when he was able to annoy and limit Mark Snuffy, who is also one of the best players in the world. So if he can be useful against Mark Snuffy, then he can definitely handle his own against some other U20 players.
That's right. I think if you needed to take someone out of the game, then you could just tell Yoichi to focus on locking him down. For that reason, I don't think it's impossible for Yoichi to play as a center back, but I do think it would be smart to pair up Yoichi with Nico and Aiku. The main reason being those players have meta vision and they use their vision and intelligence, while Yoichi is more or less instincts and physicality.
That being said, if we do need another DM, then Yoichi can still play there, but we think his defensive skills could be used in both positions, which will ultimately make Yoichi this defensive offensive utility player where he can either come in as a defender or he can move up and then be a DM if the team needs.
The last sub could be Rayo. Rayo has the capabilities of playing any position, and he could be a key piece in this team. He could allow for any gaps to be covered and fill in any role that's required depending on the situation. He showed us during the Blue Lock 11 versus Japan U20 match that he can use his chameleon style to act as a center back if needed.
Yeah, if he can stop a monster like Shido, then I think he could be very effective against other forwards. Preferably, we would like Rayo to be in the midfield, but if we really needed someone to fill the role, then Rayo could definitely do it because we do have more capable midfielders than defenders in the overall roster.
Since you mentioned it, let's move on to our next three midfielders. Our first will be the defensive midfielder, and that has to be Karasu. As the defensive midfielder, Karasu will be the anchor of the midfield, acting as a crucial link between the defense and attack.
Throughout his time with PXG, Karasu has been a star in that midfield position. He was able to win the ball from his oppositions and shut down attacks on multiple different occasions. He is constantly reading the field and looking for the best opportunities to steal the ball, and he was able to do this against many impressive players like Michael Kaiser.
On top of being so good at defense, Karasu is very skilled at passing and building up attacks. He can provide important link-up, further creating important scoring opportunities for his teammates.
And if you add all of this with his recent awakening of Metavision, Karasu will be even a deadlier force in the midfield. He will definitely be a crucial piece in the Japan U20 team. Moving on, let's talk about our next midfielder, which will be the central midfielder. And we think Rayo would be the best choice for this position.
As a central midfielder, Rayo would be tasked with playing in the center of the pitch and contributing to both offensive and defensive efforts, which is perfect for Rayo's versatile and balanced playing style. Plus, that chameleon style we talked about before could prove to be very useful in the midfield, where he can use it on both offense and defense.
Also, let's not forget, Rayo was able to subconsciously tap into Metavision when he entered this flow state. If he can purposely utilize Metavision, he can use it on defense to stop his opponents and then instantly launch a counterattack and even act as a playmaker if needed.
During the Manshine City and FC Barca match, Rayo proved that he can be an effective playmaker for other players like Chigiri. And on top of that, Rayo was also able to improve his copy and score an incredible goal. So at this point, he can be a threat in almost every way imaginable.
As an individual, Rayo's potential is limitless. He's so versatile and so good. Our team will definitely need a player like this who can really participate in both offense and defense.
But adding more onto this team, let's go to the attacking midfielder, and we think the best player would be Yuri. Yuri is one of the best playmakers and passers in Blue Lock. After training with Bayern Munich, Yuri acquired Metavision and further developed his playmaking and dribbling skills.
After acquiring Metavision, Yuri grew into an even better playmaker. He was acting as the key playmaker for Bayern Munich by anticipating Isagi's movements and supporting him through a shared vision. Thanks to this process, Yuri was able to produce the game-winning assist versus Ubers.
After that match, Yuri decided that he would link up with any striker who he deems worthy of his passes and not just Isagi. He did live up to this declaration because in that PXG match, he did pass the ball to Kaiser. So we think this mentality alongside his playmaking abilities would make him the best attacking midfielder for this team.
1000%. Yuri is also able to play reflexively and rely on his instincts, which can force his teammates to improve and improvise new ideas on the fly. Overall, Yuri would work great with the strikers and wingers on this team because he would send the ball to anyone who seemed like a real attacking threat.
And outside of his offensive capabilities, Yuri has shown many impressive defensive plays. His block against Ren's shot at the beginning of the Bayern Munich versus PXG match, and the time he intercepted Charles's pass and then launched a counterattack that resulted in Isagi scoring a goal.
Considering all of these feats, it's clear why we want Yuri to be the attacking midfielder for this team. He's an excellent playmaker, he can send these great passes, and he also has the capabilities to play as a central midfielder if this team really needs it. He can also play well on defense, and overall, he's just too good not to start on this team.
Those were all of our starting midfielders, and with that covered, we should talk about some of the subs. Yoichi would be our first pick as a sub for defensive midfield. For Bayern Munich, he was a pretty integral piece in the team's success by playing as a defensive midfielder. He can also be a pivotal defensive piece for this formation too.
Plus, if our team really needs it, we could always just have Yoichi and Karasu play at the same time and add more defensive stability to this team overall. They can both come together and then we could have like a 5-man defense with Karasu, Yoichi, Aryu, Niku, and Aiku all protecting the field. They can all even spread out a little bit so they each have their own zones, and Yuri of course could just move up and act as the main playmaker with Isagi and Rin as well as their wingers. Or we could just have Yoichi play as a man marker like he usually does, while Karasu just watch at the front like he usually does. Either way, these two are playing at the same time, they would overall strengthen the team's defense.
That, and we think Yoichi could also fill in the role as the sole DM and allow Rayo or Hiyori to excel as the more offensive focused midfielders. He can fortify the front of the back line and connect passes with these players like he's been doing in Bayern Munich.
Another player that we think could be a good backup for the defensive midfielder position is Kunigami. We went back and forth on this one, but we think Kunigami could be used as a sub, as a DM, or maybe even as an emergency striker if the team needs it.
Kunigami is a special case because he was sent to Wildcard to be this vessel for Noel Noah. So we thought he was going to be a great striker, but instead he failed to excel on his own. He was only able to score those 2 goals because he was relying on Isagi's plays.
As a striker, we don't think Kunigami has the abilities to start or sub for this team unless there was reason like an injury or tactical reason, but we do think he could be very useful as a man-marking type defensive midfielder. We say this because arguably his best individual performance came against PXG as a defensive midfielder.
When Kunigami was moved to defensive midfielder, he dropped a world-class defensive performance against Shido. One of the main reasons was because he was fired up by the challenge of getting his revenge against Shido. However, this position change opened our eyes to Kunigami's possibilities. Kunigami was able to completely shut down someone as physically capable as Shido, so we think he could manhandle some of the other U20 players.
Preferably, we would like Kunigami to play as a DM if a player like Rayo, Hiri, or even Crossy was on the field, because Kunigami doesn't really have the passing or vision as a playmaker, but he does have the physicality to be a destroyer like we mentioned. Ideally, we would play him as a man-marking destroyer type midfielder like Yoichi, but the main difference is that Kunigami still has better scoring capabilities than Yoichi. From the midfield, Kunigami can still use his power shots from a distance to be a scoring threat.
That being said, we could put in Kunigami or Yoichi as a defensive midfielder, depending on the team's needs, because Karasu also has the ability to play as a central midfielder. And introducing another sub, the next sub would have to be Sendo.
During his time in the NEL, Sendo mainly played as a second striker. This meant he was tasked with acting as a shadow and expanding the attacking options of the team's main striker. Sendo's ability to throw off the opposing defense cannot be undervalued. He's able to get into these spaces and then link up with the midfield to create chances for the striker. Because of that, we think his skills could be very useful in either the attacking midfielder position or the central midfielder position.
Besides acting as a shadow, Sendo's all-round play is very versatile. He's willing to contribute wherever he can, whether it's on offense or defense. Plus, his work rate is all-around high because he's chasing every second ball. That's how he scored that hyena goal against Manshine City.
Honestly, Sendo can do it all, and this versatile playing style of his will make him a very good addition to the team, especially in the midfield. This is where he can contribute to both offense and defensive efforts, which we know he's really good at doing.
There is another player who we think could be added into the midfield, and that's Bachira. If the team really needed it, then we believe Bachira could work as an attacking midfielder. This would happen if Fury needed to fill the spot of the central midfielder.
Bachira as an attacking midfielder could definitely work with his skill sets. He possesses great dribbling and playmaking abilities. His skills could be utilized in the midfield where he can win a lot of these 1v1s and break down the opposition's defense.
As an attacking midfielder, Bachira could roam in between the half spaces and help the team create more scoring chances. Bachira is a very talented passer, which enables him to potentially assist other players as well.
His skills could be useful as a playmaker or even as a second striker in that attacking midfielder position. However, we think there's a better spot for Bachira, and that's as the starting right winger.
Bachira on the right side would be an excellent addition. Wingers are given the freedom to be creative with the ball. They often utilize techniques like passing, acceleration, crossing, and dribbling to help them boost their attacking abilities. For FC Barca, Bachira has been using his dribbling, passing, and juggling ability to unexpectedly get the ball down the field and create goal-scoring chances.
As a player, Bachira can act as either a playmaker or winger to help the team increase their chances. He can roam around between these half spaces and use his free-flowing attacking style to work either in the midfield or the wider areas. His playstyle makes him so versatile, and he can do pretty much anything in between the midfield and the wider areas.
Bachira also possesses a high football IQ and great defensive awareness. He can turn defense into offense, and he displayed this ability against Manshine City. After stealing the ball, he started a counterattack that resulted in him scoring the game-winning goal against Manshine City.
With Bachira on the right side, it only makes sense that we put Chigiri as our left winger.
Chigiri would play left wing because he has been playing his best football on this side. On the left, he can utilize that golden formula, 44 Panther Snipe, where he uses his speed and dribbling to cut up the field and score an absolute screamer of a goal.
The greatest thing about Chigiri's golden formula is that he can use it by linking it with his teammates or by playing on his own.
Outside of his offensive abilities, Chigiri's speed also allowed him to make great recovery runs and even win the ball for his team. We have seen Chigiri have some standout plays on defense, most notably the time he stole the ball from Kaiser and helped launch a counterattack for Manshine City, the other time being when he blocked Barrow's shot.
Chigiri is just an overall complete player. He has great offensive and defensive capabilities. It's no surprise why we put him as our starting left winger. Now, we have our two starting wingers, so let's move on to the subs, and this is where it will be the most congested.
The first winger sub is Otia. If Bachira has to play as an attacking midfielder, then Otia could sub in as the right winger. Otia has been evolving throughout the NEL with FC Barca. He's playing as a right winger and he scored 2 goals, plus he was able to assist Bachira as his shadow. So he has the skills to play for this team, and his chemistry with Bachar could prove to be useful.
And we also know Otia has great defensive skills as well, so we think Otia could hold his own as a right winger, especially if Bachar is on the field with him. Bachar could act as a key playmaker or as a second striker by continuing to link up with Otoya. With Otoya by his side, we believe Bachar could further push up the ball and act as a finisher, just like how he's been doing with FC Bachara.
These two add a lot of creative attacking outlets by working together, and they could fit right into the versatile style of this team. Plus, we believe Isagi on the right side with Bachara and Otoya could be very effective. We know whenever Bachara and Isagi link up, magic happens. Then you add in the addition of Otoya, this could further expand the link up on the right side. The trio could move interchangeably and create numerous chances by working together.
Another player who we think could come in as a sub for the right winger position is Zantetsu. The reason we say this is because Zantetsu has been playing as a right winger for PXG in the NEL. During this time, he was acting as a support player for Shido's offensive system.
By utilizing his incredible acceleration, this explosiveness allows for him to get the best of most defenders. He has been using these abilities to create counterattacks.
This tactic proved to be useful for Zantetsu, and he was acting as a supporting winger. We think he could do this for this team as well, and use his abilities to create more attacking options by using his speed and passing.
Add that with Zantetsu's powerful lefty shot, and Zantetsu could be a triple threat. Hopefully he's been developing his shooting, and we can see that in the tournament because Zantetsu could really use a big moment like that.
Plus, I do want to add, if Zantetsu is playing at the same time as Chigiri, then we would have two wingers, both capable of bursting past multiple players and just creating goal-scoring opportunities for the team. Both of them can play defense and create counterattacks by stealing the ball, and on top of that, both of them are capable of scoring long-range screamers on the left side and on the right side of the pitch.
The thought of Chigiri and Zantetsu playing together is just beyond scary.
With that, let's move on to our last player who would be acting as a substitute right winger, and that would be Kurana. First off, we know Kurana has been playing as a right back, but we don't think it's impossible for him to play as a right winger. Kurana could act more like a supporting winger, where he could utilize his speed, dribbling, and short passing abilities to expand the attacking options of the team.
Talking about his speed specifically, Kurana's speed allows him to appear in the perfect position at the best times. Kurana makes these deep overlapping runs and provides Isagi extra options in the attack by connecting passes between each other.
We think these skills could be very useful for the Japan U20 team, especially with aiding Isagi or Hiri, because we already know they have some chemistry after playing together at Bastard Moonshine. That, and if Ego wanted to make a more Isagi-centric system or boost Isagi's chances during the games, then putting in Kurana as a right winger could be a wise tactic.
With the right winger sub settled, let's move on to the left winger subs, and our first sub is Yukimiya. During his time in the NEL, Yukimiya played as a left back and left winger for Bastard Moonshine. His playstyle involves him using his dribbling to get past his opponents and reaching a suitable space to shoot the ball.
By utilizing his dribbling and long distance shooting, Yukimiya can act as a versatile mobile striker who can break down opposition's defense and score from distance. Plus, Yukimiya also managed to gain Predator Eye during the final minutes in the match against PXG. He was able to cook some PXG defenders, but unfortunately his shot was blocked by Charles. That being said, he's definitely becoming a bigger threat in the scoring department.
Outside of scoring, Yukimiya can create link-up plays with his teammate. Yukimiya is a player that can utilize the spaces behind the opposition's defensive line and create plays for himself or his teammates.
Overall, he's a very technical and dynamic player. He's definitely shown the capabilities to exploit fast transitions between defense and offense as well, so that would make him a great left winger for counterattacks, where he can use his skill set to either score or set up chances for his teammates.
Another player who could play as a left winger is Kiora. Honestly, the only reason we would put Kiora in the game is if we needed his borderliner mentality. His philosophy leaves the hint that he's willing to link up with any player that is viewed as an underdog. So it's possible that Kiora could help awaken a player's sleeping potential, similar to what he did with Kaiser in the PXG match.
Kiora is very much an X factor, and utilizing his border mentality along with his passing, he could become a game changer as a supporting left winger. He could definitely be useful as a supporting winger and helping either Rin or Isagi depending on the moment.
Another player who could play as a supporting left winger is Nanase. Nanase played as a left winger for PXG. At PXG, he acted as a support player for Ren's offensive system.
We think Nanase could continue to act as Rin's shadow by playing as a left winger in this team's formation. On the left side, he can link up with Rin, and then he can use his off-the-ball movement and ambidextrous passing ability to expand the overall attacking options for the team and for Rin as well. We think he could continue to act as a post player and use these abilities to increase the chances of Rin or other players like we said earlier.
Plus, if Ego wants to make a more Rin-centric system or boost Rin's chances, then putting in Nanase as a left winger could be a good idea.
That does make sense. If Isagi gets a shadow, then it only makes sense Rin gets a shadow. These two are the starting strikers for the team, so if one gets a special player and helper, then the other one should also get it. With that out of the way, let's finish off with the team strikers. Obviously, our two strikers for this team are Rin and Isagi, but we think Baro and Shido would be the next best choices as substitute strikers. To be honest, Baro would be our first choice as a joker or substitute striker. The main main reason being that Baro has already shown the capabilities to coexist with both Rin and Isagi during that U20 match. Plus, Baro has already said that he sees Rin as just another Isagi, so we think he could copy the same Devour x Devour playstyle that he does with Isagi but with Rin, trying to use Rin as his light and then use him to awaken his best plays as a villainous striker.
Imagine the pure chaos of Destroyer Rin and Predator Eye Baro up front. The Wicked Road and Path of Destruction could prove to be a deadly duo. Outside of that, he can still play with Isagi too. Some of his best plays come from working or going against Isagi.
That and overall, Baro's capabilities as a striker just can't be ignored. He was glazed by Noah and Snuffy, saying he has some of the best capabilities as a U20 striker, and we've seen his amazing goal scoring capabilities. He's always relentlessly attacking the goal, and he's so unpredictable. He can pull out any big play. The most mind-boggling was definitely that double nutmeg against Isagi and Kaiser. If he's able to do that to a new Gen 11 player and a player like Isagi, then I think it's clear that Baro's going to go crazy in this tournament.
I also think Shido would be another great Joker. His exceptional spatial awareness, incredible athleticism, and powerful shooting makes him a formidable forward. He can score these insane and illogical goals, plus he can move reflexively, which means he could create a chemical reaction with Yori.
One of the biggest things about Shido as well that I respect is that Shido is okay with playing with other impressive strikers. We see in that Moonshine match that Shido had no issues with passing the ball to Rin and trying to create a chemical reaction with him, and he's also given respect to Isagi, acknowledging his abilities. That being said, we don't know how effective Rin and Shido would be together because Rin didn't pass the ball back to Shido, even though Shido was okay with passing the ball to him, so those two might not be able to create any chemical reactions, but we do think there's a possibility that Isagi or Baro could link up with Shido, especially Isagi.
We do have one last variable we would like to introduce. Will Itoshi Sai play for Japan in the U20 World Cup?
We didn't want to put too much emphasis on this because it's not confirmed that Sai will play yet, but if he does play, then it's clear that he's gonna start in the offensive midfielder position over Hiri. I mean, it's Itoshi Sai, like it just has to be that way.
So overall, his addition would also add a lot of flexibility and stability within the midfield. Honestly, Sai being on the team would just add more depth, increase the overall quality.
Without a doubt, Sai is just that great of a player, and he has to be watching the NEL right now and seeing the development of these players. He was already interested in Japanese football after the U20 match where he saw Isagi shine, so I'm assuming he's dialed in and seeing what's going to happen with this Japan U20 team. But that being said, we do know that this 3-5-2 formation does have some faults. The biggest issue definitely being the three center backs. We talked about how there weren't too many capable defenders in the team. That being said, we definitely think this team could change and fit into different formations if needed. The most common being a 4-4-2. So say if a defender's injured, let's just say it's Nico in this situation, we would take out Nico and then put in two fullbacks or two wing backs in this situation in Yukimiya and Otoya. Yukimiya will play as the left wing back and continue to play like he does, just cutting up the field and creating scoring chances. And of course, you'd have Chigiri still on the left, Bacha on the right with Otoya. Those two can cook up. But the other biggest difference too is that we'd have to move around the midfield a little bit. I do love Hiri and I think he has great offensive capabilities, but realistically, Raya would probably be a better choice. He can contribute to defense and offense a little bit better. That and he would probably aid Crosso a little bit more on that defensive end. If the team needed, we'd also just switch the team around where we have to rest the defender or there's an injury. We just use this 4-4-2 where the team becomes a little bit more compact and a little bit less dynamic in the sense of defenders coming in and helping in the midfield. And then of course we could use those same substitutions in these positions as well. Kurinda could come in on the right side, potentially even Nanase could come in as a left wing back, and then Yukimiya could come in as a left winger. And then if Ochoa needs to come in, Ochoa can still come in on the right side as well in Botcher's place. I don't know if this team will be overall stronger as a 4-4-2, but I will say this team will definitely be the strongest as 3-5-2 formation.
These are the players that we think would start on the Japan U20 team, as well as the formation that we think would fit the playstyle of our players the best.
Thank you if you did stick to the end of this video. I know we went through a lot of stuff. We wanted to cover almost every basis. If you think there's anything that we missed, definitely let us know in the comment section.
And as always, if you did enjoy the video, please consider giving a like, comment, or subscribe to the channel. And as always, we do have a link to our community Discord, and that link can be found in the description of this video below.
Thank you for sticking to the end. It's Tev.
And it's Lotus.
Peace.